A conservative in the governor's mansion. Oh, boy, you almost dare to dream, don't you? Yeah, it could actually happen this time around. Absolutely. Cisco Cotto here with you, 738 on AM 560. John Howell is back next week. Yeah, we could have a conservative in the governor's mansion, and really not a moment too soon. We will talk with one who wants to serve you in that way in just a couple of moments. Also still to come this hour, we will play Who Can It Be Now, our Nixon Spectre edition. And just after 8 o'clock, there's a U.S. Senator lashing out against the government coming in and having Grandma and Grandpa sign the living wills. That part of this health care scheme could be killed as well. That's a very good thing. Adam Andrzejewski is someone, I'm sorry, Adam, to say this, but many of the folks out there listening may have not heard of. And they may be saying this morning, Adam who? So I appreciate you coming in and talking with us. Adam Andrzejewski is a candidate for governor, strong conservative. I appreciate you coming in to talk to us. Why don't you tell us, for starters, just who the heck are you?
Sure. Hey, that's great. Well, you do a great job with the last name, Cisco. And once they hear the last name of Andrzejewski, it's very difficult to forget. So this is a real nice introduction to the people of Illinois. I was the first declared candidate in either party. I declared my candidacy for governor on March 1st. I think that people will find that I'm a common sense conservative. I grew up downstate in the small town of Herscher in Kankakee County. I was the oldest of 7 kids, and one of my earliest memories, the banker told my mother that we'd never go to college. We got our degrees. The 7 of us have 11 college degrees, and my brother was able to graduate from Harvard Law School. My brother and I went into business 10 years ago. From scratch, we grew our company to nearly $20 million of revenue, employing and creating 156 jobs. I think this is the resume of the next governor of Illinois. I'm proud of my record. I stand on it. I'm running on it.
So you've run a successful company, because I know a lot of people, when they're just hearing about someone for the first time, they go, well, what have you done? What makes you think you can run this huge behemoth bureaucracy? And it's nice to know if you've run a business, you've made a payroll. That seems to be a pretty good training ground.
Well, Cisco, I've signed not only the back of that paycheck like everybody else that's employed, but I've signed the front of it. And that gives me unique experience. Now, this is the experience that I also have in influencing government at the highest levels. After I was able to sell the shares of my company, I started a nonprofit organization called For the Good of Illinois. And I trained an army of volunteers all across the state of Illinois to ask their local units of government, their school districts, townships, municipalities, and finally counties to post their checkbooks. We had a lot of success. We posted over $1 billion worth of government spending on government websites. This gives the taxpayer respect. I want to bring this to Springfield.
Yeah, you keep talking about transparency. I've heard that a lot throughout your campaign thus far. Transparency on spending, but also you've recently launched this movement to have all the candidates get their tax returns out there. I mean, personal transparency, too.
Absolutely. Look, we're in the days in Illinois after Rod Blagojevich and George Ryan. We need to prove we're clean conservatives. So I have a transparency foundation to my candidacy. It's every dime online in real time. As conservatives, we want tax cuts. We'll never have tax cuts. We'll never grow this jobs economy unless we get spending cuts. But Governor Quinn, he says there's no place to cut in this budget. He introduced a budget that was larger than last year. So we need to open up the books of Springfield. And if we can see the wasteful spending, we can cut the wasteful spending, and we can hold the line on taxes. Now, you mentioned tax returns. Before we can lead, we've got to show the people that we're clean, not beholden, that we're not insiders. I'm an outsider to this political process. New ideas require new people, like the posting of personal sources of income. You can go to my website, adam4illinois.com. You can review exactly where I've made my money. My competitors in this race, and I have 5 of them, 45 days ago I asked them to post their income tax returns, prove you're a clean conservative, and none of them have.
How do you, and I appreciate the tax returns. I've always thought if you want to be a public servant, the least the people should be able to get out of you is knowing where you're getting your money from. So I'm glad that you're doing that, and I hope the other people do it too. As far as the budget mess goes, we keep hearing every day that the budget gap is bigger. It's bigger, it's bigger, it's bigger. I'm all for tax cuts. I'm all for spending cuts. But do you think it is really possible? I don't want to sound too cynical here. Is it just such a big beast that you can go in there thinking that you're going to be able to tackle it and solve it, but they've made such a big mess that you just can't do it?
Well, it's a big mess. It's a $10 billion deficit that we need to balance off. And by the way, in the Illinois Constitution, we have something called a balanced budget clause. It hasn't been followed for 20 years, but as governor, I'll follow it. and I can do this without raising taxes if we get started on this right now. I have identified the necessary savings and spending cuts to be able to balance off that $10 billion hole with shared sacrifice, cuts, and savings and efficiencies, but we need to start on that now.
Have you come up with any? I mean, do you have any specifics? You say that you have a strategy? I mean, what would you cut? Because it seems like everyone is out to protect their little piece of the pie, and they always say cut someone else's. As long as you don't cut mine, sure, yeah, you can cut those other people.
And that's why we need an outsider to the political process. By opening up the books through a forensic audit of state spending, Kansas did it. They're 5 times smaller than Illinois, and they saved $1 billion. In Illinois, we can save $3 to $5 billion if we did that, a forensic audit of state spending. And if we did that, we'll be able to pay our service providers rather than pushing these bills out 7 months. We'll be able to pay our hospitals, our doctors, our service providers on time and in full, and it's the right thing to do.
I look over across the border there, and I see the job Mitch Daniels is doing over in Indiana. And I say regularly, boy, I wish we had that guy over here. He's doing such a great job. One of the things he's been able to do is successfully lure businesses to Indiana, to get them to actually want to come there and create jobs. Is tax cuts the way that you would do that? I mean, what would you do to get businesses here so we can get our unemployment rate down?
Well, we need to be competitive. Every single meeting that I'm in, every single room that I'm in, whether it's people or business owners, the thought has crossed their head that they'll just leave Illinois if it gets any worse. I believe in my first term, in 4 years, we can flip the state on many levels so fast it'll make everybody's head spin. And when everybody knows that Illinois is open for business again, they'll either come back to Illinois or will internally grow jobs again. Governor Daniels in Indiana, he mails letters in on a quarterly basis asking businesses in Illinois to go across the border. I'll make sure that we're competitive versus Indiana and Wisconsin and Iowa and Kentucky.
Yeah, and everywhere else, right? I mean, I'm sick of hearing about some of these other states that are doing it right, and somehow we can't get the job done here.
And you ask where to cut. I'll tell you the first place that I'll cut. Over the last 15 years, the highest we rank at job growth is 44th. Last year, we were 48th. We spend $1 billion in the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I would zero it out.
Yeah, they don't seem to be doing much with that money. Well, I mean, I'm sure some people are making money off of it, but they're not actually doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, it's the old story. We need jobs, not a jobs bureaucracy.
Jobs, paying people to create jobs, and then they don't actually do it. Being a political outsider, a political novice, I'm sure if you talk to some of the strategists, they would say, well, that's difficult. Start small. Maybe run for the Illinois House. Slowly work your way up. Yeah, why didn't you take that track? Why do you jump right to the governor's office?
Well, this is not an experience election, Cisco. If you work your way up in this Illinois political process, George Ryan, Rod Blagojevich, they had the most experience. This is a leadership election. Somebody needs to apply conservative common sense leadership in Springfield. That's why I'm running for governor. That's the message that's resonating on the trail. And I think private sector experience is what the voters want as a resume for the next governor.
And is this what you're feeling as you go around the state? Because, I mean, as I'm out talking to people, I'm getting a sense that, man, they are fed up, and they do want someone from outside the political process as opposed to the next anointed one that the party puts up there for them.
Well, I got 4 competitors in the race about a month ago. I declared 5 months ago. I led with the grassroots. I led with the living room. I led with the kitchen table. All my competitors in this race that just declared, they have one strategy: to buy the election with a grass top strategy. My strategy is to reach out to the grassroots, the activists, the people that fear for their jobs and fear for the next paycheck. And those are the people that are resonating with the solutions. I have an issues tab on my website, Cisco. It's 15,000 words of simple and clear and robust solutions to our problems. And that's what people want in their next governor. They want leadership.
How do you get something done with Mike Madigan and those folks down there? They've been down there. They're entrenched. They don't necessarily like dealing with governors. They like running the show. How do you, as governor, bridge the gap with those guys and actually get something done?
Well, this is the power of Every Dime Online in real time. Because when we open up the books of state government, when we can see the state spending, I can do that by executive order. I don't need Michael Madigan. The second thing that I can do in large part by executive order is a forensic audit of state spending. When we open up Michael Madigan's books, he's been in power for 30 years. He'll be back on his heels. He'll have to deal with the people of Illinois. The mandate they've given me to put me in the governor's mansion We'll open up his books. We'll see his spending. We'll audit that spending, and he'll be back on his heels.
Boy, imagine all the fiscal skeletons that are in that closet. Adam, before we let you go, I want you to give your website. I want the folks out there who listen to this program and are interested and like what they're hearing to be able to find out more about you. So what's your website?
My website is adam4illinois.com, and we'll take the fight to Springfield experience. We'll take the fight to the Madigans.
That is a website you can remember. Very, very well done. Not confusing. adam4illinois.com. Adam Andrzejewski, thanks for joining us here on AM 560 WIND.